Hi all, this is Yossi. I'm with Paul and Steve at the Public Institute, and we're just doing a bit of a survey ahead of the project in the front with our team. And we're here, it's just approaching the equinox. It's a bright day, so we're getting some pictures of where the sun is hitting, and we're just going to do a bit of a brief tour around. So I'll just showing Paul we're starting by the staircase on the right hand side, the entrance, which was particularly wet and waterlogged, but we've put in some drainage pipes, French drains, and covered it with particular aggregate, and now it's getting there. So the water comes from the is that north east?
South something.
Oh, south, yeah, somewhere. It's coming from above
That's
the
south,
above.
That's southwest. That's west. So north that way, west is the. The sun is going on southwest.
So it's coming from the. Sorry about that confusion. It's coming from the southwest, which is up the hill. It's coming from over the site, and it was butting up against this wall along the bottom.
We're happy to get some thoughts into the back bit, because a part of the fourth design is to locate the two main. We've got two big elements to fit into the system. So
Right.
What's something to think about?
Yeah.
One is we've been donated a greenhouse by Ian Guthrie, and he's available to chat to on Facebook. We've also planned to buy a tool shed. We've got to work out where we're going to put them.
Right.
Now, we want the garden to be really inviting and open.
Can they hear?
Yeah.
So this is being picked up.
Open and inviting.
Yeah.
But you arrive and you've got this stone wall and the staircase. There's a danger of, like, I don't know, think about people falling off the wall.
Yeah, this front end, we're hoping to do some espalier, because it's pretty ugly, and like Steve said, it's not very inviting, and it's also dangerous, so it could double up as a safety measure instead of a railing.
Function. Well, rather than
function.
So we had the design idea of an espalier to support the function of not falling off the edge.
Yeah.
But when I put a spade in the ground the other day, I realised
we can't dig very deep.
There's very little soil here.
Yeah.
This is rubble behind
this
here.
This is rubble. This is where this picture that Steve's taking is where this front end, where the wall is where they've put the old building. So that's why we struggle with the drainage, and that's why, like Steve said, it will be very hard to plant up.
And the first job that we did, so we haven't done a lot of design really yet on this. We've just thought about functions, and we said in the design things that the first thing you do really is you build the path. It's access was the first thing.
Yeah.
And especially because we brought a bunch of volunteers who in the winter, is instantly the ground churns up.
Yes.
So we built. The first thing we did was build the path.
We did the path, and we had the wettest winter on record. So it might not be indicative of what will come in future years, but I'm glad that we saw it early on, just in case that is what we have to get used to. Apparently the site does dry out in the summer quite a lot, but the drainage should help if there's any excess rain or severe rain coming in. We're just heading up to the right hand side. There's some big trees which overlook the site. They don't create loads of shade into the middle, but
big ash tree here.
It's an ash.
A lot out of. We'll introduce you to Dave.
Yeah, this is Dave. This is Dave, the pond man. The pond extraordinaire.
Oh yeah.
This is being recorded, so if you don't want to talk,
I'm happy to talk.
Yeah.
Just keep 2 meters away.
and Dave has there are some allotments also right at the back of the site which overlook our site, and we're hoping to capture quite a lot of water as well. And
would you say a student group is going to help us design the community function at the part of our garden? What we're doing here, right? And you're here as our neighbour, or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're also kind of part. We're planning to collaborate and support each other.
Absolutely.
So they're really interested in the functions of the garden, like why are you here, what are you trying to get out of it, what are your objectives, and what are you hoping you might gain from the relationship with us. Any thoughts on that?
Well, we've got a vegetable garden here, so we want to produce food primarily.
And you live next door.
And we live next door, so we're very close and we can keep an eye on everything because our house is right there.
Yep.
And Mike's big into wildflowers, so this area down here is going to be all wildflowers because the soil's really rough. It's full of glass and stone and rubbish.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to get the soil perfect, we're going to plant appropriately there and hopefully encourage insects and everything with the wildflowers.
Brilliant.
Nice.
And we're going to have a big greenhouse, which is this mass of metal here.
It is big, isn't it?
It's enormous. It's
How
18
long is it?
foot.
How long?
18 foot.
18-foot
By
greenhouse by
And,
12.
12 foot wide, yeah.
Where you can see here. I've got a greenhouse next door, small one, so I'll be bringing stuff. That's sort of cosy greenhouse for bringing stuff on early.
Yeah.
And then this will be the main growing area. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's quite a harsh environment some years here.
Yeah.
Last year was really sunny, and everything went great. But some other years, the summers can be poor, so a greenhouse is a really good
Right.
useful tool around here.
Quite changeable weather here as well.
It'll
Yeah.
be very wet, means you can garden if it's raining, and etc. And in regards to you guys there, well, we're sort of part of the community anyway, and we
Yeah.
know most of the people who operate in here. We'll be sharing, hopefully we'll share looking after plants. So if we can't be here, I can phone one of the members of the community allotment up and say, can you just keep an eye on blah 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 and help yourself with this, and
Yeah.
we can also share seedlings and
Of course, yeah.
information and experience. And it's just great for us to see that this is in use.
That's
You know,
good.
it's a piece of ground that the council used to have to pay someone
Yeah.
just to clear.
Yeah, and it didn't look great, did it? I mean, it was just bare.
nothing, and nobody
Yeah.
ever used it.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
to use
It's
it,
just
really.
scrap, and it cost them money. Now they're getting some income, and people are using it, and that makes a lot of sense to me.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
And I'm happy to team up with you on the pond. 'Cause I think
Yeah.
wildlife ponds, great idea.
Yeah, so just a bit of a note is that Dave has a lot of experience building wildlife ponds, not just to look good, but to actually integrate into the garden and assist the garden with integrated pest management. I just got a nod and a wink from Steve.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. And yeah, we're hoping to just bring in a lot of different insects which we wouldn't otherwise have.
Yeah.
And newts and stuff
There'll
like
be
that.
lots of toads and frogs.
Toads and the birds come as well and indulge. So we're hoping to do that at the bottom of the site, which is kind of tucked away from the main path for safety reasons. Seems like we're going to have a bit of a job digging it out, but I'm up for that.
Well,
And
I've got the pond there. I mean, I've got the bath you can use.
Yeah.
I've got plastic sheeting, and I've got an old carpet to protect it.
perfect.
And we've got a model of it next door. There's a couple of ponds.
Yeah,
there
we'll
which I'll
get
show you.
some pictures which we can show the group of Dave's previous creations, which are amazing, and it will show that they do look, even though they are artificial, they do look in keeping with nature. There's not loads of electronic pumps and things like that. They do blend in really nicely and add a lot to the general health of the garden. So now I think we're going to get some pictures of the beds as well. Is that right, Steve?
Yeah, well, we're the survey team, because obviously normally everyone would come and be here, but they're not able to be because obviously we're all being careful and all of that. So
I'm going to cut the...
no, just leave it. Just
Leave it-
record
leave it
we'll
rolling?
afterwards. Leave it on all the time. Yeah,
Sure.
no problem. So thanks.
And welcome. This is actually Monique's allotment. So
Yeah, right.
she's the boss on this particular patch.
Oh, okay,
First
right,
dibs
okay,
on the
so
carrots.
Do you just describe yourselves as experienced gardeners, novice gardeners, specialists, or I don't know? Any thoughts? In between.
Not totally new. You know about veg.
Yeah.
I've had allotments for years.
Yeah.
And I've grown veg, but it's very much dependent on where you are. You can't really take your knowledge from one area to another area.
Right.
Everything changes when you move area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're a bit of a
And
fanatic about
there's
wildflowers,
so
aren't
much
you?
information you can keep learning forever.
That's also true.
course,
There's no
yeah.
end to it. And yeah,
But we're into soil fertility is the key for me.
Right.
absolutely.
It's
yeah.
all about getting the right stuff in.
Yeah.
When the soil's good, you can
Yeah.
pretty much grow anything.
Yeah.
And what were you starting with on this site? Like what were we
You said it's very
First it was
glassy
covering
and-
up the ground.
stony and
Well,
What
over
about invasive
here-
weeds? Or
Over here, what we had was a pre-gardened area which someone must have had a greenhouse
yeah.
with the plastic sheet down, and then they put gravel on,
Okay.
and then over years all the glass must have been broken.
Oh.
And then there was like soil on top of that. So as you
Yeah.
went down through the layers,
yeah.
it was really inhospitable
Real mess,
for
right.
There's
plants.
loads of plastic and these bits of everything are fine.
Yeah. Oh, we also had a toxic fire.
Whoa.
That's why that's not got anything on it.
Right.
So there's actually a dead zone that we're looking
Well,
at.
we cleaned
That
it all out and put it right in the far corner. We're going to
Yeah.
use it as a support for a water tank.
right?
Because we don't reckon we can grow anything.
No, it
anywhere
doesn't
near
look like it. Steve's just taking pictures of a dead zone of the garden that has sort of toxic waste on it.
we've done
So what we're looking at here, where exactly, which bit is it exactly? Where the table is, that's clever, okay, yeah.
Um,
Made it apart.
You can enter
we made it apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. We dug out a couple of feet of soil, put it all in the soil, and just use it as a
We've been burning plastic and stuff and God knows what, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Whatever.
It was used for fire pit for a long time.
Yeah.
For just for household waste.
Yeah.
So there's some nasty stuff in there.
Okay.
We've also, I want to just flag up the
Yes.
bitumen on that's a new pole.
Stinks and
All right, yeah.
And that bitumen, I really think we should all avoid having anything
To do with that.
to do with food growing anywhere, or even compost being close to that.
Right.
Because that
Have we got a plan? One is forming as we speak, and still thinking on it. So not really, actually, no. Is the answer? Finished plan.
I've got,
work in progress.
Evolving plan.
I've got surplus simple wildflowers like yarrow. I've got loads of yarrow.
oh wow, yarrow's really beneficial.
There was somewhere you wanted them.
We absolutely. So on the bank below the beds, we really want that. We're going to do as much wildflowers, as much diversity as we can down there, and along these edges. I mean, you can see that there's yarrow there. It wants to be there anyway. That can be there. That's perfect. A really good insect plant, and we're totally into the integrated pest management. I actually think what you're saying. That's what we want to achieve with the garden. That's what how we teach permaculture is get people to think about. Create as many edges, microhabitats, think about the whole ecosystem, think about the soil. So yeah, I love what you're saying, Dave.
And we're really lucky here because we've got a wildlife area next door.
Right,
Oh right.
Wilderness just there.
right. So,
So
there's a huge
Dave's-
brash pile.
Dave's just pointing out quite a nicely overgrown section just next to the garden.
It's never managed.
It's not managed, it's not cultivated, and it's just been let.
Yeah, well, it's the big. Oh no, it's not, isn't
It's
it?
landlocked.
It's landlocked and doesn't not really
The
own.
house that owns it is right over there. They never use it.
Right.
They've never been there in 15 years.
Right.
There's a huge apple tree,
Wow.
and basically we've all been piling our brash there. All the neighbours use it as a place to put brash.
Okay.
But that means that the hedgehogs are in there, and
Right.
Right.
there's
It's
quite
a
a
really
resource there.
protected area because no one goes there. And,
But you can get in and out quite easily there.
yeah, so we can actually utilise it in some way. We can keep it healthy for nature. And that will. But hey, off.
So,
Making a nuisance of yourself,
have you
Lou.
had any thoughts about them taking down the wall at the front and then that becoming some kind of an entrance garden? Apparently, that is
Sold it,
something they want to
I
do.
heard they were planning to do that, and I was a bit surprised because although the wall's not great, it's very functional. It's
Right.
not the most attractive thing, but it is
It breaks it up, doesn't it?
providing quite a strong functional feature of holding that. It would be lovely to have that because it's a very useless space.
Well, they did want
It's
to
got the
put
one bench in the middle, and no one ever
Yeah.
goes in it.
No.
And what do you know what it was originally? Do you remember going back at all?
No.
Because you said it was a bit of a remembrance, Steve.
Someone said it was a memorial thing.
Memorial.
Yeah,
But when we'll go back and we'll look at it a bit more closely. So
Yeah.
actually what we're going to task our students with, we want them to look at the whole thing.
Yeah.
We're going to ask them to say, look, we've been offered a small greenhouse and a tool shed.
Yeah.
Where are we going to put them? I don't actually
Yeah.
know. So I think that'd be a really interesting exercise for them to think about placement of key elements in a system
Yeah.
so they fit in and harmonise with your objectives and our objectives and the community objectives and not get in the way of turning cars around and,
Yeah.
you know.
And also you've got to get the aspect for the greenhouse is very important.
Yeah, so I think they've got a challenge with that.
And
And then the other thing what we're going to ask the students to do is to think about the front garden and design strategies for that, what we might do with that. But really to think about what function. So like the idea of drawing people in, inviting. No one uses that space, right? Ever uses it.
just the one person.
There's no entrance.
Di sits in there all on his own.
And people think it's his private garden.
Right.
But
Yeah.
as the town's changed a lot because of the supermarket,
Yeah.
That is now the principal area where people
Yeah.
meet in the town.
Loads of
Right,
foot,
yeah.
And there is
Instead of
nowhere
the
to
square.
sit.
loads
and
of
chat.
footfall there, isn't around?
Yeah. Well, it used to be
You
the
just said
square.
something very interesting there. So there's two things that I think are interesting. One is like, so I wonder what Di's opinion of that garden changes might be. If everyone thinks that it's his, that's the guy who lives next door to
Yeah.
it, the caretaker.
But his house is rented. It comes with being
Right.
the caretaker of the
Right.
institute.
Okay.
Okay.
And but no, but they want that to become so. We need a functional space for people to sit because there isn't one because the centre of the town has moved
It
because
has.
the supermarket
Exactly.
moved. That's
And
that's a
it's really-
great design brief for the students. That's
Yeah.
exactly there's key functions right in there.
So it's a very important
almost-
location as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is,
So we'll
because
go and
that's
have
where
a-
everybody congregates now.
Yeah.
But they actually congregate in the opening of a car park, which is a really dangerous place
Yeah.
to stand.
Yeah, and not very pretty.
People
either.
try and have conversations in the road,
and you're
it,
getting in the way.
Oh,
and
okay.
everything,
it
yeah.
really interrupts the social interaction
Yeah.
of the town.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So it should replicate what we used to have, which
Yeah.
was a square where people could meet safely and chat,
Yeah.
which they did, but now they don't.
But now, because it's moved up here, it seems.
that's,
Yeah.
that's totally that's very very.
That's a great point.
spot on.
I
Cheers.
would
Thank you.
concentrate on
So
human.
Yeah.
what this garden is, what we're
Sure.
trying to do, Dave, is we want to coordinate this space as we're calling ourselves a community horticulture hub or something like that. Like I don't know what we're going to call it, but that's the function of it. and our idea is to support people across the whole community who want to grow more food and make it easier for them. But we need to work out of somewhere and have a base. So that's what this is going to be. And then we can reach out. People are saying to me, "Well, I've got a greenhouse or a polytunnel I'm not using." We could then support that function. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So the next thing we're thinking is, well, we want to invite the community in to make them feel part of it.
Yeah.
And so what happens at the front is almost like the front door to, hey, community growing in the area.
Yeah,
So it becomes a little permaculture hub, if you like, but really it's just a functioning community space.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you
Decent.
could have if you have a seating area there, you could have a notice board or something with information about what's going on back here, because people can't see this.
Yes, so they're not in the habit of coming round.
No. So very few people will actually come up here.
Right,
No one even knows it's here.
right.
Yeah.
So if you have a little seating area which everyone will see, and
Yes.
there's a little notice board
A sign.
that says,
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, just round the
Yeah.
back of
Because
here.
we do want to tie the two sites together. That's part of the function, like for nature, bringing in bees and other things, but also people.
Yeah, so yarrow out the front as well as yarrow.
Yeah.
Sort of
Fabulous.
inviting people into the space.
And herbs that people can pick as well. Other herbs.
Next door,
Yeah. We're hoping to talk to them.
Garden next door, I can't go wrong really.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, once we're allowed to go back to the pubs, that's
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's quite a crazy time in history, just to point out that we are all being restricted and quarantined as a nation. No pubs for probably the first time in since when? That is since beer was invented. Hey, sorry. Come here.
okay.
Come here. Thank you.
Yeah, nice to see.
So that's Dave and Michelle that we were just talking to. Monique, sorry, Dave and Monique we were just talking to, and they've got the top bit of the garden, as Yossi explained, and they are part of the community, and we're just kind of merging together what we're doing and what they're doing, and you can see that conversation. There's quite a lot of overlap. Down at the bottom of the garden, this is where to the right hand side as you face the institute. This is where the pond is being. They're imagining there being some kind of a water feature here, and they're gathering.
Who's they?
Dave and Yossi have been talking about this, and we want it fits into our integrated pest management plan. We want to have some open water. Dave knows how to do it. We're harvesting rainwater off those buildings up above us, because so. There's another neighbour as well that's full of fields as part of this garden, and they're sending our rainwater to us. Okay. You'll notice we've got 2 rainwater tanks there.
The RBC.
Yeah, those IBCs are just gravity fed. Yeah. So we've now got that's our water source, which can go to a pond down here. Okay. So that's what they're thinking about, and the function of the pond is to support IPM, integrated pest management, and just add more diversity to the space.
Why didn't you decide to go with the overflow water from the well on the other side? What was the thinking? Because there's a well up there, and it floods down here.
Only occasionally. No, we just had the wettest February ever, and it overflowed. It doesn't normally do that. So what we have got is, and the thing is that they came and brought us the water. It's coming off the roof of the house. They said, we're collecting the rainwater already. We've got more than we know what to do with. So please can we redirect our surplus to you? So that's why we did that. So again, he's always trying to go with the flow, literally the flow. But it is, and then that's another relationship that we've built with another community member.
Yeah, okay.
So we put in this apple tree, just a little maiden whip, that went in the other day. It's called a Tanat Reviver, and it's a neighbour has given it to us, and they had an apple tree identified in their garden as unique. They have the only Tanat Reviver in the world is in Stephen Francine's garden, and they identified that at one of the apple days, and so they've been propagating from it.
Yeah.
And the Tanat is the name of the river,
Yeah.
Tanat, which is a palindrome.
Yes.
So they called it the Tanat Reviver, which is also a palindrome. Let's keep on. So that's that. So again, is we're trying to put local heritage and make references to the local community.
Yeah. Is that
yes,
the time?
yes. And that's again the deliberate point is to build relationships to the garden. It's not a community garden if you haven't built the relationships.
Gotcha.
So imagine everything that goes in has to serve multiple functions.
And one of those
So don't
functions
just stick an apple tree in isn't enough.
One of those functions is community.
Yes, yes, and so and we're also interested in heritage varieties, and because that's diversity.
Yeah.
We don't need another Cox's orange pippin. The world's drowning in them.
Yeah.
What we want is the Kai Bodvak orchard. We've got nearly 100 different apples in there, so we could slowly. Also, one of the things that we could do in this space would be propagate those, have grafting and things, and
great.
so again is. The function of the community garden is to demonstrate permaculture, to educate people who are interested in learning more about it, and then give them the tools to go away and replicate it.
Yeah.
So we say demonstrate, educate, replicate.
Yeah.
Rather than saying to people, oh, thou shalt do permaculture, what we do is we demonstrate it and we make it easy for them to do it when they show interest.
Right.
We draw them in. Yeah. So that's what if you like, that's the function of this space. And I think, and as well as it just being, it's fun, it's nice. It's for a lot of us, Tuesdays, volunteer days, Tuesday morning.
Is get a picture of that front left end because that's where we're
yes. No, yes. We've got all of.
And there because this is the main path.
Yeah.
The path goes round there where the dock is, and along the front. But that left corner there, we're hoping to actually probably fence it off where my coat is along that.
And that will
be the wildlife area.
So it's going to be a kind of
get a picture of his ponds as well. Should I go up and get
Zone 4, Zone 5 thing?
A couple of snaps because we can know what he's.
Yeah, sure.
Is that?
Take the camera.
Rhubarb? Kale.
That's rhubarb. Someone's donated us some rhubarb.
Nice. Bayberry and a raspberry.
And it's a blackcurrant.
A blackcurrant.
And a tayberry.
And a tayberry.
Okay. Now we've been given those by a grower. They're named varieties, which you'd have to pay money for. Rather than just like a common blackcurrant, it's a special, high producing one for commercial use. I mean, that's give us lots of blackcurrants.
Oh, nice.
So these will be mother plants that we'll then propagate from. Okay, so the idea then is that because blackcurrants are very easy to propagate.
Yeah.
So we could make hundreds of blackcurrant plants and then send them out to the community, which is how we build relationships with the community.
Yes.
Right. So we're not just interested in the fruits. We're interested in the relationships that we build with the community.
Yes. And we don't need people necessarily to come here. We can also
that's right. And they can take them away.
Yeah.
Remembering that the function of this space is to support community growing
right.
across the community, not just to produce blackcurrants for us.
Yeah.
So we want to get the whole thing. So that's just again, and they've been given to us by particular people. So again, there's a relationship involved.
Sure.
So there we go. That's that bit.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll just get one snap with the trees because then we can see the shade a bit.
Yeah. So
this area where the berries are is shady.
It would have been in full sun up until about half an hour ago. You'll see if you think about it.
Yeah.
The sun's tracked across from the east.
Yeah.
It's now high in the south.
So about half the day it's in
it's
shade.
in full sun and it goes into shade.
Half and half. So that's partial shade, is it? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's partial shade. So these are kind of forest edge plants. They enjoy a bit of sun.
Right.
But they're not top canopy things, are
they?
They grow on the edges of things, and there's a lot of very interesting niches on the edges of woodlands.
Yes.
And lots of our herbs and wilder plants and small shrubs, they need a certain amount of light, but they don't need to be in full sun all the time.
Yeah, they need a bit of shade too.
So we're exploring the shape of the bank,
Yeah.
the edge against with where the hedge behind it. We're seeing that as like a forest edge.
Yeah.
But we put them in a sunny spot where it gets full sun for 2/3 of the day. And all of that early morning light and stuff like that. So
Sure.
they should do well there.
Yes.
And so strategic placement of key elements that perform multiple functions that build relationships into the community. That's why they're there. It's not for blackcurrants. The yield is a byproduct of that, if you get me.
The fruit yield.
Yes, that's just a byproduct, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Alright, let's have a look at that one.
It's just so I can show the group what we're dealing with, and hopefully we can get some ideas of what we want as well if they've got any input.
Yeah.
So I'm just walking with Dave into his garden. I'm going to take some pictures of his wildlife ponds.
Tomatoes coming up.
Yeah, that's his greenhouse on the left. Nice bamboo as well. It's a really functional but also pretty garden there. So we've got his main pond here. You can probably hear the trickling of water. That recycles it through a sand filter.
Yeah, there's sand and gravel.
Sand and gravel.
And some sponges.
Crystal clear water, really. There's some plants along the bottom. Do you know what?
Lots of plants. It's Elodia denso is the main one, but there's a one that's like a, I don't know what they call it. So it's like a spider plant, a giant spider plant. But it's quite low at this time of year.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh,
coming
there.
up in the
Yeah,
corner.
yeah. And you can, and that filters it a bit, does it?
I don't know, but the Elodia densa produces a lot of oxygen.
Right.
And the other plant, I've got one in here which is called, I think it's called a maidenhair. It's very fine.
Maidenhair.
I think it's called maidenhair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different plant. There it is. Look at that. That's a lovely bit of. That's really good for the.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah.
then there's always duckweed on the top.
That's
can
the
be-
floating
Yeah,
stuff.
that can be a bit intrusive, but
Yeah.
it also gives a bit of shade in the summer because it's quite hot.
Yeah. So this isn't basically full sunlight all day, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but it is very deep. It's nearly 3 foot deep. This.
Right. And that
it's
is to prevent it freezing solid.
Yeah, it also fits in with the lay of the land because
Yeah.
it's on a slope, so
It's on a slope,
we've
but
built it up so you can. It's actually a waste pipe when you walk past. It's very easy to look at. Kids can stand and
Yeah.
look into it. And
so kids can stand. I'm just going to get a picture of this wall here because kids can. Right, Luna's freaking out. Kids can interact with the pond without falling in it,
Yeah,
which is
it's
the
quite
key. And we're going to have to think about safety as well as wildlife in this respect. But it just adds such an extra quality. It's relaxing. It mirrors the sunlight, and it blends in, and nature loves it. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think comes down and feeds there? Like, what have you seen? Birds and
well, dragonflies. Lay their eggs in there.
right?
There's newts and toads in there,
Yeah,
and of course birds come and drink,
yeah.
but they also bathe in it.
Oh, right. Yeah, because birds
so-
need to clean their feathers, don't they? That's,
It's
not a
You
luxury.
have a few goldfish in it,
right.
but that just gives me more visual interest.
Yeah,
It means that kids don't just walk past without looking at it.
yeah, of course.
They go, oh look, there's fish.
Yeah, it draws people in, doesn't it?
So this is next door.
Ah, wow.
I'll just
So we're just walking through. Yeah, do you want me to
No, I'm
hang?
sure Louis not here. Louis! He's not here.
We're just having a look at the garden which overlooks our site, actually. I'm getting a snap now and you can see the hill. Where's the well in it's at the top of that hill, is it?
Well, it's a fence. There's a fence on the.
Yeah,
It's within that fence.
within that.
yeah.
So there is a well there with very ancient well with very beautiful spring water which actually flows into our site. Unfortunately this winter was a bit too much spring water, so it was flooded. But it's a beautiful area, my word.
Maybe
Okay.
don't take too many pictures. This is a pond made with a bathtub.
Right.
Suggested we have next door.
Yeah.
And lots of frog spawn in here.
Right. See, this is a very wild looking pond.
Frog there. Oh, something's growing there. It just disappeared.
It's thick with frog spawn, isn't it?
Frog spawn in there.
It's
Yeah.
like a frog spawn soup.
Yeah.
And other animals will eat those. Some of them, of course, will not hatch. What's the word? Develop into frogs.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. The blackbirds like to get the
Blackbirds,
little
right.
tadpoles. But there'll be plenty survive.
yeah.
And this is a sunken bath with black plastic buried around it, which creates a wetland. So
Yeah.
it's very wet on the
So
edge.
the soil here is wet to the top.
You've got a kind of boggy
Yeah.
bogland. You can hear
Yeah.
that is quite. But that's wet.
Oh,
there.
wow, yeah.
That's just soaking there.
That's good.
But yeah, we're quite a long way above the water. And because it's a rigid pond, it can't be punctured by a kid with a stick.
Right.
This
Which
is a
is,
common fault with
yeah.
ponds. People put in a plastic liner, child comes along with a stick at some point, goes through
Yeah.
the pond, and then 2 days later it's
There is
there,
no pond.
everything's dry.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite resilient against
Yeah.
kids.
Put a stick in there, you hit the fiberglass bath, and you can't put a hole through that.
Right. And
Unless
this
you
is
really go
this pond here is something that I think we're going to base ours on.
Yeah.
Same.
I mean, there's not much free water in this.
Idea.
Irises have been allowed to take over.
Yeah. Yeah, but we could just pull them out and keep it
Yeah.
Bit-
There's another
a
pond
bit
up
deeper.
here,
Oh, right.
which is the best really, but this is actually lined with cement,
Aha.
mortar.
Right.
There's a plastic liner underneath, and then
Yeah, this is the jewel in the crown, and you know, this is an absolutely gorgeous pond. It's the biggest one here, and it's beautiful. How wide do you think that is? Probably 12 foot, 15 foot wide.
15 by 8 or something.
15 by 8 feet.
All
And
these fish have been born in here.
And I think sorry about the picture. I think I remember you telling me this one is not maintained very much at all.
No.
Um,
She doesn't feed them.
Yeah, so
The fish numbers are steady because she doesn't feed them.
right.
So you can see baby fish. These
Yeah.
have all been born in here.
Gosh.
At one time I counted 80 fish in here. But now I would say it's probably more like 20 or 30.
And
the heron will take some.
yeah, occasionally the heron will come and
And the cat.
thin the numbers a little bit,
Yeah.
but it doesn't destroy the population. It's so calming.
It's lovely,
It's
isn't
a
it?
great spot. It's
Little blackfish there.
beautiful.
A lot of the goldfish are black when they're babies.
All right.
You can see it there.
Oh yeah. It's just
And
darting
they
around.
get colour later on. Yeah, hard to see.
Yeah, I can't pick that up.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to trust me on this,
hard
folks.
to see.
But is there? Oh yeah. So that's a young goldfish
Yeah.
before it's grown.
Yeah,
It's
some of them are black for quite a few years.
right. Oh, this is amazing. So there's no pump in this pond.
Well, there is a pump, but
There is a
she
pump.
doesn't really use it.
It's not in use. Yeah.
I think it's this is off grid basically where we are.
Yeah.
So there may be a solar panel turning a bit of water in the summer.
Yeah. Solar panel pump is something that we discussed last time, isn't it? Because then we wouldn't have to link it up with any electricity because it's quite a remote site, the institute.
Yeah.
So we could do it kind of
And
off
it's quite
grid.
educational seeing that you can run things directly off the sun
Sure.
without
Sure.
going through the mains.
Yeah, it'd be good to maybe have a board explaining what's happening to show people that can be done, like you say. Yeah. Oh, what a pond!
Yeah, it's
I
wicked. isn't
mean,
it?
oh, it's beautiful, man. You get these reeds. It's amazing, that one.
Go this way.
Sure. Yeah, I've just been discussing with Dave that hopefully we're going to start excavating some of the rubble. It's not even soil, rubble.
Is it rubble?
Yeah, but I think so. Clay and rubble to get the bathtub down, and hopefully we can start on that. But just know if there's any input from anyone regarding these ponds. If you just let me know, let us know, and we'll share the pictures, and hopefully we'll get some good stuff going on. So I'm just going to rejoin Steve and Paul, who are observing the site out front. We've been talking to some locals to see what it is that they want to incorporate, and we've been told that this is actually a very well there's a lot of people on foot here since the supermarket was built. And it will be really important to try and incorporate that, you know, people being able to sit and chat.
So huge opportunity for this to be a welcoming, soft space.
Yeah.
Open up. Again, thinking just the function, no design,
Yeah.
just all the function is bring people away from maybe waiting outside the park.
In the car
Encourage
park.
people to
Yeah.
spend time together here,
Sure.
and then link them through to what's going on behind. There's the public toilets that side,
Yeah.
and then the entrance that side.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to sign off. I think I've given quite a lot. What we've also done is captured a lot more of this information, and we'll post it on the voiceover and the photos.
There's photos of the pond. There's 3 ponds there that we can all have a look at and see if there's any inspiration that we can take from them.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we have. So we haven't found anyone else to interview. So obviously people haven't come down, but that's okay.
Great dog.
But there's someone else who would like to. There's a couple of people we can speak to online. So
absolutely.
we're going to sign off, and we'll post all this information on the page. Okay, lovely to see you all. We'll be in touch.
Take care.
Yeah.
See you. I'm trying my best to get her as balanced and calm as possible. She's a lot better than she was.
Okay, you did it.
Nice. So I've got pictures.
So, that might be a factor that might end up with
We don't want to divide it, but we don't want it to just be
overspill for freezer.
shocking shit.
Well, well, there's your design challenge. That's your design challenge, right? And obviously, to a certain extent, that will happen.
Right.
But it will self-regulate a bit because it's more public. So that happens quite a lot on the pump track.
Okay.
And what happens there is people...
What's the pump track?
You know that funny biking thing, when you enter into the Kaibodra, you call that the pump track. BMX thing.
Yeah.
So it's a teenage hangout, so where better to go and drink beer and then throw the bottles and stuff like that.
It's
So
cool like, you know.
Someone's really seen it.
Right.
And again, that's something that Jay's very aware of, because he's on the...
We want it to be a social hub and not
Yes, key part of this design is Jay's involved. So we will keep communicating with him. He's really enjoyed the course, but he's just now gone into complete overload mode. Because he's put his household on lockdown, doesn't want anyone in. He's trying to work out how he's going to make his money. He looks after a lot of other people. He's a man with a massive community responsibility, and he's doing responsible for payback because he used to be a cunt. He was a fucking smack addicted, problematic person in his youth, and then he's become someone who's passionate about the opposite of that.
Right.
And so he's a gentle giant, really. But very misunderstood. Yes. Well, yes, and I think his instinct is he's a tortoise. His instinct is get in your own shell. He said they have dogs which they train to be fierce because people come and attack them because they're travellers. Right, so they think completely differently.
On the course, you have to carry like a bat in his house.
So this is part of the diversity that we're. It's part of the diversity that we're. Yeah, there's that deck up there. We used to sit up there sometimes.
Oh yeah. I don't even know about that. That overlooks the site.
Yeah.
to. I can just pace it and just get a sense of the. Yeah.
Is there anything you can think of?
Fruit and veg. Cat food. Oh no, they haven't. They don't have the right one.
Right.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay, so we're going to do a quick little survey of the actual garden itself. It's about what did I say? 16 meters, was it?
You said 12.
12, about 12 meters wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I'll make it about 12. Yeah, about 5 width on. It's got to the end by the pub end is semicircular, but they're going to take it down, aren't they? So yeah,
About 6 that way.
yeah, okay. So it's about 5 meters wide at this point, and it goes to about 6 meters wide at the other end.